You ever walk into a room and feel it, the weight of someone's eyes on you, the pull before a single word is spoken? That was me that night. I didn't plan on it. I didn't dress for it. But when his gaze caught mine across the bar, I knew. The air shifted. Everything else faded into background noise. He was older, no question. Lines at the corner of his eyes told stories of a life lived hard and well. His hair was dark but threaded with silver, his jaw sharp, his shoulders broad under a tailored jacket that looked effortless on him. Confidence like that doesn't need introductions, it walks in with you, claims the space, and waits for you to follow. Are you drinking alone tonight? His voice was smooth, low. The kind of voice that doesn't really ask, it tells you what you're about to do. I turned, heart skipping. He was already beside me, close enough that I caught the scent of expensive cologne and whiskey on his breath. Not anymore, I guess, I murmured. His lips tugged at the corner, like I'd passed some secret test. Shame, he said, glancing at my empty glass. I was about to buy your next. You still can, I shrugged, tilting my head. He studied me, those steel-grey eyes narrowing just slightly, and then he smiled, slow, deliberate, the kind that promised more than words ever could. I don't usually stay long, he said. Neither do I. That was all it took. No games. No endless small talk. Just an understanding, sharp and silent, that we were both looking for the same thing. Your place? I asked. He didn't hesitate. He downed the rest of his drink, stood, and held out a hand like he already knew my answer. The door of his apartment had barely clicked shut when his hands were on me. Strong, assured, like he'd been waiting longer than either of us realized. My dress slipped to the floor, his jacket following, then his shirt, his belt, pieces of us scattered between hurried kisses that made me dizzy. By the time we reached the bedroom, I could hardly breathe. The night unraveled in waves, heat, urgency, and the kind of connection that doesn't ask permission. He didn't just want me. He needed me. And I let him. For hours, the world shrank down to just us, tangled in shadows and gasps until exhaustion pulled us under. I meant to leave before morning. That was always the plan, no lingering, no messy strings. But when I opened my eyes, sunlight spilled across the room, and the smell of coffee drifted in. He was in the kitchen, shirtless, pouring 2 mugs like it was the most natural thing in the world. You were going to sneak out, he said, not looking at me. I didn't think you were the coffee after kind, I teased, leaning against the doorway. I'm full of surprises, he smirked, sliding a mug across the counter. I wrapped my hands around the warm ceramic, expecting silence. Instead, he said, I've got friends coming by tonight. A few close buddies. Cards, drinks. I raised a brow. Just cards. His grin widened, slow, knowing. Could be more. Something in his tone made my pulse quicken. I sipped my coffee, studying him. Are they as good as you? Stay, he said. Find out. I didn't need convincing. The thought stayed with me all day, tightening deep in my chest, humming under my skin. By late afternoon, anticipation had me restless. I stretched out on the couch, the clock ticking slower than usual, my mind replaying his words. When the door finally opened, voices floated in, low, masculine, easy laughter. My stomach flipped. I slipped into the bathroom, hot water steaming around me, rinsing away the night's ache but not the memory of it. My hand lingered on my stomach, my skin still buzzing from his touch, from the thought of what he'd meant by more. What it would feel like to not just be with him, but to be seen, surrounded. When I stepped out, hair damp, cheeks flushed, I pulled on his robe. It smelled like him. I tied the sash and opened the door. 5 men stood in the living room. His friends. Their conversation stilled the moment I appeared. Every eye was on me. The air shifted, thicker, heavier, like the night before had only been a prelude. I walked slowly, calm on the outside though my heart pounded. I sat beside him on the couch. His hand found my thigh immediately, warm, firm, possessive. Let's get started, he whispered, low enough for only me. One of the others stepped closer. Tall. Broad. Silent. His gaze locked on mine, steady and unflinching. Go on, my stranger urged softly. I leaned forward, closing the distance, my lips brushing, soft, teasing, testing. The man's breath hitched, eyes darkening. Then another hand guided me gently, a thumb brushing my lip, another presence pressing closer. Touches spread, fingers grazing my shoulders, tracing my jaw, brushing my thigh. I moved between them, shifting from one moment to the next, the air alive with murmurs and low approval. I was the center of it. Not overwhelmed. Not lost. In control, choosing, moving, giving, taking. Their world orbited me, and I let it. The night stretched, time falling away. Laughter mixing with low groans, warmth tangled with heat, boundaries dissolving until nothing was left but rhythm and sensation. At one point, I straddled one of them, his hands firm on my waist, guiding, holding me steady as I gasped and leaned in closer. Another tilted my chin, capturing my mouth with a kiss so deep it made me forget the rest of the room. And then another pressed in behind me, steadying me, whispering one word in my ear, breathe. I did. Barely. The world became a blur of hands, mouths, heat, and pressure. Every nerve awake, every thought dissolved into the rhythm we found together. I was theirs. And somehow, they were all mine. And just when I thought I couldn't take any more, when my body was trembling, spent, and raw from it all, he pulled me close, lips brushing my ear. You haven't seen anything yet. I believed him. Stay until the end, he'd said. And I did. Every moment, every heartbeat, every touch etched into me like fire. And the truth? I didn't want it to stop.